Anime is a style of animation that was developed from a Japanese art form called manga. Manga, the Japanese word for comics or comic strips, like those we see every day in U.S. newspapers, began in Japan in the early 1100s. The drawings were caricatures of animals used as a metaphor to express views on society at a time when to speak against the social order could result in severe punishment, even execution.
Manga, translated as comics, is a printed matter, created by one creator.
One of the most famous manga artists of the 20th century is Mr. Reiji Matsumoto, who first became known for his work Honeybee Adventures.
I was 15 years old when I published Honeybee Adventures. I took manga in a new direction by adding drama and real issues to the stories, not just humor or political statements.
In America, comic books are a cult form of entertainment, but in Japan they are a part of mainstream society. Popular manga weeklies can sell over 4 million copies per week. In 1994, over 1 billion comic books were published in Japan. That's 10 books for every man, woman, and child.
Half of the books sold in Japan are comic books. They are very well segmented by demographic group. They have books for young boys, young girls, young men who work in companies, young women who work in companies, the management level of men at companies, mother-in-laws. I mean, there's a lot of segmentation among the comic books so that every potential audience has a product that it can buy.
And there are also manga that are intended to be somewhat instructional, that deal with Japanese corporate culture and business practices that are read by not only business people but by the general public.
One of the best-selling series of manga books today is Salaryman, the everyday adventures of a young Japanese businessman, created by Kenshi Hirokani.
With most mangas, you have to do a lot of research, but since I was already working in the advertising department at Panasonic, I was able to write about my own experiences.
Avid fans of manga and anime are known as otaku.
Otaku is obsession. It's about being thoroughly focused and riveted on a certain aspect, some usually technologically driven aspect of contemporary society, whether it's computers, anime, manga, video games.
If you're a hardcore anime otaku, as we like to call him, is very proud of the fact that he enjoys the original Japanese. He enjoys hearing the original Japanese voices, their inflection patterns. He likes hearing the songs in Japanese. He likes seeing the Japanese or the Chinese characters which are used in the Japanese writing. And he considers that the attempt to dub it, if you will, sort of dumbs it down, or it takes away some of that unique appeal. And many of our fans are very strong in their choice of a subtitled version.
Mr. Okada, a professor at the University of Tokyo, teaches a course on otaku culture.
American otakus interested in manga and anime try to learn the language to better understand the Japanese culture. It's very similar to when the Japanese imported American culture. A lot of Japanese people went to English conversation schools to learn more about the American way.
I
attended an animation expo in Los Angeles, and there were so many people interested in anime. They had keychains, posters, and it made me realize how the Americans are trying to understand the basic nuance of Japan through our animation.
This is just the kind of place I've always imagined. Look out below!
The degree to which one style of animation influences another is difficult to identify. The borrowing of styles and techniques is common practice in all forms of art. Animation is no exception. In the early days of the Japanese animation industry, Japanese animators were heavily influenced by the films of Walt Disney.
A new Disney film would come out, people would watch it, study it, and try to steal the techniques. Now animation in Japan has evolved into its own style and technique.
And now these techniques and ideas are flowing back to America, seeping into aspects of American life ranging from popular culture to television programming.
Got a phone call from somebody at HBO, and they said, you know, we represent HBO and we're interested in Spawn. And, you know, I had only one question for him at that time, which was,
you know, can I cuss?
You really fucked yourself this time.
If you could cuss in the show, then that would open up a lot of other things, and I wouldn't be restricted. And I knew that this show couldn't be something that had to be contained in a very small box.
One warrior in the afterlife. One love he can't forget. One deal that can't be broken.
God ain't he a boy?
Let him go.
Are you?
Spawn, you know, it's an age-old tragic drama. I mean, it's Faust, and that's the push.
I didn't want him, like I said, to go to the network, to come on Saturday morning cartoons, and to have him with a talking dog for a sidekick. That was like, I'd rather have no show than to have that.
Oh, but I think you're dealing with some misplaced anger here. Don't get pissed at me. I'm the one who's helping you out. I'm not the one who stole your wife.
It's fascinating to see how the different cultural influences come together, they interact, they bounce off each other, and the more of this that goes on, I think the more fascinating kind of programming we'll be seeing over the future years.
A lot of this stuff is seeping into the subculture, music culture. A lot of the skateboard kids, street kids, they love this stuff.
In 1998, Walt Disney will bring out a very famous Japanese animated movie called Princess Mononoke.